Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to this week. And boy, what a week it has been. Luckily, luckily, no, the ice storm hit, but no power outages. So I am up and running. So I, I was preparing to be up and running. So I was hopeful. I was hopeful, but yeah, it looks like the worst of it is over here. The freezing rain has just started turning over to rain, so it's time to get rid of all the ice. I certainly don't want to go outside. That's for sure. Definitely going to be a little bit on the slippery side. So holy banana bread, guys! This is our last stream of March. So it's going to be April. It's going to be April here as of Tuesday. So tomorrow is the last day of the month. It looks like we're going to finish out with a red month for all markets involved. So what can I say? What can I say? We're gonna have a great afternoon. We got some. I got the news. We got you guys here, and of course, we might even hit the swag meter. I don't know. As you'll notice up in the top corner, we're at 21 out of 25 because you guys were hitting us up with some supers there at the last stream. So 4 supers, and we will have the swag meter. So what will happen if we hit 25 is I'm going to give away a free piece of swag. Now, I was trying to think, how should I do this? I'm going to give some warnings. So what we'll do is we'll give away the swag next Sunday. If we hit it, we'll do it next Sunday. That way there, I can give people all kinds of warnings. So everybody who is interested in winning swag can attend next Sunday, and I'm going to get one of those draw thingies that looks, I think it takes it from, I don't know if it takes from the comments or from who's watching, but it'll be fantastic. You won't have to be subscribed. There's no qualifications at all. You just have to be here. I think that's about it. So if we hit it, we will do that a week from today. That could be a lot of fun. All right. Before we get to any news or anything else, let's hit the comments. Let's see how you guys are doing. We got Jonathan in the house with am I late for more campaign promises? You're probably early. You're probably early. Now the title of today's chat was promises. We've had a couple of actually investing related promises coming out of Pierre Poilievre. So we'll definitely be hitting those. Now, one of them, I believe one of them is in the news. The other one, quite literally, he dropped it today. So it's not in the news. He made this promise that capital gains, he's looking to get rid of capital gains on Canadian investments, as long as, and there's a caveat to it, as long as you reinvest in something else Canadian. And from the sounds of it, it's not going to just be stocks. It's also, I believe it's also going to apply to capital gains on real estate as well. So for example, if you sell a non-primary house, which would normally 50% of that would be, capital gains. Well, now, as long as you take all of those capital gains, and I assume it's all, not just the 50%, I assume it's all, but I could be wrong. Like, he didn't really clarify it too much. But as long as you take those capital gains and you invest it in either more Canadian property, if you're buying another piece of property, or let's say you're like, I want to buy some stocks, as long as they're Canadian, that would qualify and you would pay no capital gains. That's a little bit of a game changer if that were to come in. And of course, that the other one that he had, of course, was that additional $5,000 to the contribution room on the TFSA that had to be spent on Canadian investments. So, he's trying to promote Canadian investment with these 2 promises. So we'll revisit these a little bit later. I was just like, ooh, no capital gains. That could be very interesting. Prairie is in the house. Good afternoon and happy Sunday, everyone. Bismarcky is here with a happy Sunday, and we got Max R. Hello, everyone. quite the ice buildup here in Kingston. Keep safe in this ice storm. Yes, a lot of places in Ontario, they got hit a lot worse than we did. Absolutely. I know that I saw some pictures on the news. Some places are without power. They've got down trees, down power lines, all of that fun stuff. Well, fun as in a sarcastic fun. Here we're pretty good. Like, you got to look at it. There's a couple of things interesting about here. One, we don't have a lot of power lines per se, other than the big ones, like off the big transformers. Now those are the ones that all crumbled during the DeRoche that we got a few summers ago. So we had a lot of brand new ones that had to be rebuilt because of that. So they're pretty darn sturdy. I think everything held out pretty good here. But yeah, some places absolutely got it bad. So not good, not good. King of Day is in the house with a hello, happy Sunday. All we got Rory. Hi, all sunny here. Oh, rub it in, Rory. Rub it in. It's not sunny here. Just trying to see if you can see any of the ice on this. I'll try to show you guys. All right, we're gonna go. We're going to the window. Holy banana bread. All right. I don't know. This is a tree. I don't know if you can see. Like, there is a thin amount of ice on that tree, but I don't know. I don't know. All right, guys. I probably should have given like a moving warning. Holy banana bread. Now there. Let's try to get everything back where it. There we go. There we go. Yeah. I don't know if the camera picked that up, but maybe if you're watching it on a TV, you might have been able to see some of the ice on the tree, but it's not super thick. It's not super thick. All right. Jersky's in the house with a happy Sunday fun day. Balik says, hi, all. Vic says, holding cash till April 3rd. April 3rd. Interesting. Of course, both April 2nd and April 3rd. Those are the days that we get the tariffs hitting. So I am expecting to see a pretty red market on April 2nd with the reciprocal tariffs, but April 3rd could be pretty red too. So we're going to have to see how that all works out. But I wouldn't. I would be ready. I would be ready. There might be some pretty good deals. Terry says, hi, gang. Supper time here, and I get a strong whiff of CBC radio cooking the polling figures. We're going to look at the polls a little bit later. You got to keep in mind, and I know people like to trash the CBC a lot, but with their poll tracker, they are taking an average. They are taking an average across a whole bunch of polls. So I like that one only because it is an average. So, but we'll look at those. We'll look at those later. We'll look at those when we get to the news. We don't need to look at the polls right now. Rory says, I put in an order for XEQT again. Lowball ask. Nothing wrong with that. I can tell you, there's been times I've used like a limit order and I've put it in lower than it really rightfully should have been hit, and sometimes it does hit. Actually, one of the best ones recently was I think 3 months ago. We had that. Actually, it was the first day the tariffs were supposed to go. I put in a crazy low bid on Canoe, and it wicked down pretty low, and it hit me. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. So it does hit. It does sometimes work out in your favor big time. Vic says, will it stabilize by then or just go off a cliff after April 2nd? Well, that'll be the question. Yeah. It's you see, here's the thing. We have all the ingredients to move into a recession, and that's where most economists believe that we're going. I believe that we're heading into that recession as well. So, even these prices, even these dips that we're getting now, they might be expensive compared to where things could end up. But at the same time, nobody knows. That's kind of why dollar cost averaging is good, because even if you're grabbing some dips now and then you get better dips in the recession, at least you're getting a more fair value when you average it all out. All right, we got Mary in the house with a hello, everyone. And that means, guys, it is time to hit the, you know what I'm going to say, the like button. I'm going to have some coffee because you guys are going to be busy turning a thumb to a blue color. Ah, nice. Let's see. Vic says, Polyev promised to defund the CBC, so can't blame him for wanting a job. Now, I've noticed that Polyev has not been talking about defunding the CBC very much lately. So it's interesting. Definitely interesting. All right. Vic says, I did my civic duty. Hit the like, then vote. Yeah, I did my civic booty. My civic duty, not booty. What is a civic booty? But all right. I did my civic duty and I sent in the ID and stuff to get vote by mail because I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I don't know what I'm doing on election day, but I don't want to have to build the day around going to the polls. So I'll get my package probably towards the end of the week, and then I'll vote. I'll vote sooner than later. All right. Vic says Richard Chamberlain dies at 90. Oh boy. Yeah, Shogun. Yeah, Shogun was one of those big miniseries back in, I believe it was the 70s. Now there is a remake on Disney Plus, Shogun, and it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. If you haven't seen the 70s Shogun, or if you have and you liked it, I would check out the one on Disney Plus. It is good. Sophie says hello, everyone. Rory says Pierre won't get rid of the CBC, just cut it down. Yeah, maybe. I mean, the CBC does have one essential function, and that is that for a lot of rural communities, it's their only connection to news. So that's, that is important. That is important. Jonathan said, it is your duty to civic that booty. There we go. Oh, boy. Yep. I don't know how the show turned into a booty call, but somehow, you never know what's going to happen. Vic said, yeah, Pierre Polyev said no cap gains tax on Canadian investments and additional 5K TFSA room for Canada-only investments. So yeah, these are good things. These are good things. I'm sure amongst the community of investors, he will have gained a couple of votes at least with these changes because these are good. These are good. Now, mind you, I will say that probably when you look at investing people, I think, and this is not a general. I don't want to have a generality, but I think a lot of people in the investing sphere. There's a lot of right leaning. There's definitely a lot of right leaning. Not to say that there isn't left leaning folk too. There is. There absolutely is. There is a mix, but I would say 60 to 70% probably lean more to the right than to the left amongst the sphere. But that's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't care what, you guys can lean right, left, or up, down. It doesn't matter. I'm good with everything. All right. We have Lisa in the house with a hi, everyone. Perfect. All right. So that means, guys, I caught up. So let's quickly hit our first news story. So we had our January GDP data drop on Friday. So we were in January, we actually came in strong. We came in at relatively strong. We came in at a 0.4%. They were expecting 0.3%. So we actually beat expectations by a tiny bit. Now, the previous month, so back in December, we're only up 0.3. So, January, not a bad month. Now we also got the preliminary data for February. February GDP flat 0, but it is looking like it's coming above the estimates of negative 0.1. So that's kind of cool. Now, part of that January growth, basically, Well, the tariffs, and not so much the tariffs per se, but people knowing the tariffs are coming, buying ahead of time, getting that stuff in before you're paying tariffs on them. So that certainly helped a little bit with the sales in January, and that of course translates to GDP. Um, Now, when we actually look at the growth, so mining quartering, so the oil and gas extraction and manufacturing sectors, they were the largest contributors for growth for the month. So oil and gas extraction, they registered the biggest growth with 2.6% expansion in January. So that's not too shabby. Now, of course, that flat February, so the preliminary we got for February, most of that is most likely due to some of the offsetting impacts of growth in manufacturing, finance, and insurance, as well as there's a little bit of a contraction in real estate rental leasing, oil and gas extraction, as well as retail trade. So that's all sort of boiling into the numbers. But what can we say? What can we say? We know the GDP is going to contract even more. We are going to be moving into negative territory, and we know where that's going to lead to. We're looking at a recession down the road. So what can we do? Jonathan says it would be pretty hard to enforce Canada-only investments in a TFSA. Well, that's the thing, right? That is the thing. It seems to me like it might be a lot of paperwork, and I'm wondering. And here's the thing, Jonathan. Like, I am wondering if Pierre gets in and pushes this into law, is this going to be a situation where you pay your capital gains, but then you get a tax credit, and you then present, what was Canadian? And here's the other question too. What about an ETF? So if you have an ETF that is, let's say it's 50% Canadian eligible dividends. Well, actually, no, this is on dividends. So capital gains, it probably would count. Okay, never mind. I was thinking about I was thinking about tax profiles, but then I realized, wait a minute, we're talking about dividends, not capital gains. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he plans to enforce it. Provided he wins. Provided he wins. Vic says, was happy to pick up NVIDIA, so NVDA at 120. Now I'm sad. I know it's kind of like Air Canada. So as you guys know, I'm doing the Air Canada swing again, and I got excited when it got down into the 15s, and I went and bought 40 shares at that point. Then it plummeted. It plummeted more after that. I did get another 10 shares to get my total up to 50. And that helped knock my adjusted cost base. But gosh, I sure was like, I wish I had just waited and bought them all in the 14s. But yeah, that's fine. I'm hoping they stay I'm hoping Air Canada stays in the 14s for a little bit, because I'll snag my my next batch of Air Canada for next month if they are. King of Day says, leaning right or left, I'm just gonna lean back. Yeah, nothing wrong with leaning back. I like it. I like it. Let's see. CRWV IPO thoughts. That's a good question. I don't think I have any thoughts. Not yet. I haven't really looked into it. Whoops. Give me a second here. I forgot to click you up. Yeah, I haven't really thought too much about it, but I'm always a little bit leery of IPOs, only because you get the excitement of the initial launch. So a lot of times IPO, it will go bing right up, and then it corrects over the next week or so and settles into a more fair price. So I'm always kind of hesitant to get in right away. Yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, we'll look at it more. We'll look at it more when it gets closer, for sure. Let's see. Lisa says they're probably going to do a separate TFSA where only Canadian equities can be purchased, like a TFSA 2 or something like that. That's an interesting idea. If you did it that way, well, Well, that would be, yeah, for the 5,000. So maybe it's like a TFSA and then you got a bud on the side, like your Canadian bud or something. That would be interesting. But here's the thing, would you have the ability to move between the two? Because, if you've already got Canadian stuff in your TFSA and then they have like the secondary Canadian TFSA, be interesting to see if there's movement between the two. But right now, everybody, guys, everything is speculation, and he has to win. He has to win before we see what this would look like. A Saja says, "Will REITs fall with tariff and recession?" Example: cap REITs, so the Canadian apartment REIT. So REITs are not going to be. They won't be hit directly because obviously REITs are not. They're not moving stuff back and forth across the border. But they will indirectly be impacted. And where they will be impacted is overall as the economy shrinks, as people have less money, that will, of course, that's going to impact everybody. So REITs will have a little bit of an impact on that. However, and this is kind of one of these things, normally when the rates are going down, and we are expecting, even though we're going to have tariff inflation, we're still expecting the rates to go down perhaps as many as 2 times for the rest of the year. And that's to sort of help with the economy. So kind of economy is going to trump over, oh boy, I shouldn't have said the word Trump, but economy is going to win out over the inflation. And that's not a normal thing. Normally, the Bank of Canada, they're in there using their tool belt, using those interest rates to reel in the inflation. But in this case here, the inflations will be caused by tariffs, and the economy will be a much more pressing. And we've already seen it with the last rate cut. The Bank of Canada, they did release some information after that saying that, if it weren't for the tariffs, that would have been a pause. They were ready to pause, but they had to, for the economy, they had to cut. And that's what we're going to be seeing. So with that being said, that is a good thing for REITs. REITs carry a bit of debt. REITs, have a lot of mortgages, things like that. That's always a good. You also have a lot of these mortgages. You have some of the mortgage renewals. Some of that wave is REITs renewing as well. So the lower they can get that rate, obviously, the better it will be for them. So REITs should still do well. Like I have I have RMAX, and you guys know I love RMAX. I think that's a really good one. Unfortunately, I have RioCan. Not unfortunately, I still like RioCan, but they got that extra little kick because of the Hudson Bay Company. What happened to them? But I'm still holding out hope for the REITs. Like I haven't sold any of them, and I will tell you guys for the 0 to 100K challenge, which video will drop on Tuesday. I did a rebalance I did a pretty major rebalance. So I sold some stuff for sure. Just to move things a little bit expensive. But I will tell you, I did not sell any of the, I did not sell any Remax. I did not sell any RioCan. I did, believe it or not, I didn't even sell Timber Creek Financial. I still have faith in all of them. But we'll have to sort of see. I mean, I'm watching Timber Creek Financial because I'm like, come on, guys, this is, you can do better. You can do better. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Vic says, did you see how CIBC quietly eliminated some CDR stocks? I did not. Oh, interesting. Now I'm gonna have to take a look now. Vic, which ones did they get rid of? If you know off the top of your head, I'm kind of curious. Bill says, on the surface, REITs would seem to be fine. You have to pay your rent even if there's a recession. The market's going down, might drag on them though. Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. Apparently, Discord is thinking of doing an IPO. Yes, I did read that the other day. I did read that. And speaking of Discord, guys, there is a link down below for the channel Discord. We are over there. You can talk. You can do all kinds of stuff. I keep the schedule over there. There's a lot, drop your questions over there. Sometimes there's not a video and just drop a question and somebody will get to you. It might be me, it could be somebody in the community, but yeah, no, I love our Discord. It is fantastic. All right. Vic says, of all my 2020 pandemic low winners, guess which is the champ? It is BRK. So Berkshire Hathaway. Nice. All right. Rory says, I'm looking to add CN Rail in the low 130 range. Price to book is still high, even at this price of 140. Yeah. Now, I mean, CN had a couple of good dips. I got it 130 something. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, and this was in the challenge. So I was like, I ended up buying two, which kind of skewed my industrial sector above the 25. Like I try to I like, well, for me, I like sectors to stay within 20%, but I'm okay with them going up as high as 25. But yeah, it got skewed a tiny bit above, but it was a great price. I had to grab two. It was too good. It was too good to pass up. And plus it is part of my defensive investing strategy. All right. Roku says, let's see, maybe a select group of Canadian ETFs could be chosen from the Buy Canadian top up. Lisa beat me to it. Interesting. Interesting. We should almost do something over on Discord, like a Buy Canadian thread or something where we can just put our best stuff there. AA, if they remove CDR stocks, what happens to the investment? If you're invested in a CDR and they stop it, they usually will refund you the current market value for that CDR. That's what they would do. And I don't know which CDRs. Vic hasn't responded yet, but obviously, if they remove some, they might have removed some ones that were really unpopular. But yeah, it's a sad day. It's a sad day if we're losing some CDRs. Now I do know CIBC recently they actually added some German CDRs, and I was like, ooh, that's pretty cool. So if anything, I'd like to see it move in the opposite direction. I would love, I mean, if CIBC would create like a sort of like a world tour of CDRs, I'd be there. I'd be game for that. That would be awesome. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. All right. Now, guys, I have caught up again. That means we can move to our next story. And this is kind of really, really interesting. So as you guys know, I'm an advocate of Dollarama. I see Dollarama as a very good recession-proof stock. Well, Dollarama, and this is one of the reasons, like when you look at the PE ratio of Dollarama, it tends to be on the high side, and they tend to have a lot of debt because they're always doing stuff. They're expanding. They are expanding like crazy. Well, they're now expanding into Australia. Hence the reason the beaver has a boomerang. So Dollarama, they're buying an Australia discount retailer. It's called a Reject Shop. So they're paying $233 million for it. Now this part here is a little alarming. They're actually paying double the market value for this, but they're willing to do it because they're going to take their proven track record of success with Dollarama, and they're going to apply it to the Reject Shop. So they're actually planning by 2034 to open up 33 new Reject Shop stores, and they're going to turn this store around by basically, like I said, applying the same things that makes Dollarama work in Canada. They're going to do it there. So it's going to be really, really interesting. So they're doing that. In addition to that, and I keep mentioning that they're expanding. They're not just expanding into Australia. They're also going to, they're planning to increase their number of stores in Canada by about 40% over that same time frame. So by 2034, there's going to be more Dollaramas. So yeah, why not? Why not? They're doing well. They're doing well. Now, already their retail formula have made them the most valuable dollar store chain in North America. And it's actually interesting. Somebody, on one of my comments today on a video, somebody actually asked me about, they're like, well, how would you compare Dollarama to like the Dollar Tree? And I'm like, there's no comparison. Dollarama wins hands down. This is a store that they have a success record. They have a formula that's working, and they're expanding it. So it's going to be huge. And now, considering the fact, like the Australian market and the Canadian market, well, they're pretty close. Like even the banking system in Australia is a lot like the banking system in Canada. So they're very, very close. And I have a feeling that Dollarama is going to be very successful in Australia. And hello, welcome to their new Australian money printing machine. So yeah, Dollarama Down Under is going to do fantastic for sure. All right. Rory says, what are the Aussies gonna hire huntsmen to work at their stores? Maybe. Yeah. It's I've always wanted to be. I've never used a boomerang, but I think they would be fun. Knowing me, of course, I would probably, if you ever see that person who throws it and it comes around and hits them in the back of the head, that's probably what would happen. But I'd be willing to try. I'll just duck at the last minute. Rory says more productive with 8 legs rather than 2. Ah, there we go. Absolutely. Oh boy. All right. Now we're up. We're finally little tiny bit of politics here. So we got the news from the Hill, and as of course, we are in election full swing. And of course, like I mentioned, the promises have started to flow, and we already talked about the 2 big ones that Polyev has dropped. Of course, 5,000 extra contribution room for Canadian stocks or investments. And of course, the removal of the capital gains tax, provided you're reinvesting into Canada. So those are 2 promises. We'll have to sort of see how this is going. Now, one of the things I did want to talk about is the path to victory. So and we're only going to look at the Liberals and the Conservatives, because let's face it, the NDP doesn't have a path. They don't even have a string going through the woods that leads to victory. So yeah, it's between the Liberals and the Conservatives. We'll start with the Liberals. We'll finish up with the Conservatives. So one of the things with the Liberals, and they've been doing this heavy. This is why they've been successful. They have been really leaning into the whole, national fever, the nationalism, as well as that fear of Trump. And they're leaning into it heavy. They're capitalizing on it. They're capitalizing on Canadian pride. And that's what they need to do. They need to keep pushing on that, because one of the issues the Liberals will have is if that fear of Donald Trump, the fear of annexation, the fear of the tariffs, if that starts to wane a little bit, they could see some voters starting to sway over, sway back to the other side. So that's going to be really important for them, and they need to continue framing Carney as a steady, unifying leader who can protect Canada's sovereignty, of course. So that's kind of what they have to do, and that's going to overshadow some of the weaknesses that, of course, Carney has at the same time. So things like Canada Strong, elbows up, these are all playing into the Liberals, into their favor. Now, up next, Carney has to completely emphasize his whole economic credibility, sort of like, I'm the guy who can get you through the economic crisis. That needs to be one of these big things. So push, for example, the background as the head of the Bank of Canada, the head of Europe's Bank of Canada, or UK's Bank of Canada, and they don't have a Bank of Canada over there, but the head of the UK bank. So that's kind of that whole credibility. They need to push that, and they're doing it right now. The Liberals are doing everything really that they should be doing. The other thing too that they are doing, which I think is really, really good, is they're pretty much pulling in a lot of votes from the NDP and the Bloc. That is really, really helping them. So the NDP, and we'll see. We'll take a look at the polls here in a moment. The NDPs are just absolutely, they're just losing it. We got to the situation where the NDP are pretty much at the point where I think a lot of NDPers are like, anything to stop Polyev, so they're voting for Liberal, and that is helping them big time. And if anything, that is definitely something that you might want to double down on if you're a liberal, because it is helping them. Right now, it is positioning. It's basically Polyev. It's positioning Carney as that fresh start, as that one way to stop Polyev, and that is uniting. That is uniting the left. It's really, really hurting, of course, the NDP, and it's starting. It's starting to hurt the bloc, and that's one thing. If the Liberals want to win, they do need to get that strength in Quebec. And right now that we're seeing that. We're seeing that. So that has to scare Polyev a little bit. That has to scare him a bit. Now, the other thing, and they have started to do this as well, is they need to be the ones to sort of to cater the narrative on Polyev. So define him before he defines himself. So they need to paint him as risky, as a Trump-like figure. And I've seen the attack ads. They're already doing this. And they want to link his Canada First slogan to, well, to basically divisive populism. That's going to work well in their favor. And that's what we're seeing. And that's the game that they're playing so far. And that's kind of where things are going. And that's one of the things that is helping them out big time. All right. That's the Liberals. Let's talk about these Conservatives. Let's talk about the Conservatives. Oh boy. So right now they're behind. But they can get back on track. I think the train has already left on Trump. So one of the things that I was thinking early on is that Polyev needs to sort of begin the attack on Trump, but I don't think it'll work at this point. I think the Liberals have that sewed in really big. So when it comes to Trump, one of the things I think that Polyev needs to do is he needs to really work on distancing himself from Trump without, of course, alienating, his base. You don't want to alienate the Conservatives. You don't want to create dissension amongst the ranks, but he does need to distance himself from Trump. He needs to, we're in a situation where Trump's unpopularity it's a liability. It is a huge liability for Polyev. And so that has to be a key factor right there. So yeah, his whole Canada First. I actually don't mind that slogan, but he needs to emphasize within that sovereignty and economic independence without, of course, echoing anything that Trump says. So that's going to be kind of a little bit of a challenge. Now, he also really needs to, and he is doing this. He needs to really refocus on affordability and housing, because the Liberals are so focused on the Trump factor that they're not hitting strongly all of the sub areas like housing, affordability. They're not doing a good job on that. They're really not. That's where he needs to sort of focus in, because if we get to a point in the election cycle where people, like I mentioned before, if people stop thinking that Trump is a big threat, and if things start to cool down a little bit, people are going to start looking at the secondary issues a lot more. So affordability, housing, and Polyev can completely position himself to be strong in those for sure. He has to keep the spotlight on domestic pain points. Absolutely. Cost of living, housing shortages. Those are the things that had him so far in the lead before Trudeau stepped down. So he needs to really keep the pedal to the metal when it comes to them. He also needs to be relentless, messaging about some of the Liberal mismanagement. So immigration, housing misalignment, all of that. Yeah, he needs to really just push down on that as well. And he is doing that. He's got his little slogan. Now, when it comes to the slogans, I think back off a little bit on the slogans, because cute slogans aren't going to do it. Give straight up data. Now, another key point, and he has started to do this, is he does need to exploit Carney's unelected status, his lack of elected experience. I mean, he has no experience. And that's a vulnerability for Carney. And Pierre needs to really keep hammering down on that. In addition to that, he has to frame him as an out of touch elite that's been signed, kind of like just thrown into power. Like, here you go, no work involved. Here you go, just take over. He has to sort of he really has to hammer down on that as well. Double down, absolutely. Um, and that's the thing, because if Carney's honeymoon phase with Canada, if that peters out before the election, that's where that's where they're going to sort of people will start to take a second look at some of the stuff going on, and that will be very good for Polyev. Now, another big thing here is it's all about the vote. He has to make sure his volunteers are hammering to get people out to vote, because if somebody supports the Conservatives but they don't vote, well, it doesn't matter, right? So he needs to really get his base out there to vote, make sure that they do it, because I'll tell you, the left is working. The left is doing that. So he has to be doing that as well. And I'll give you another little thing. He really needs to not attack the NDP or the Bloc, because right now the Liberals are sucking away their seats. So if anything, don't even bother with those two parties, because if you talk somebody to not vote NDP, they're probably going to go to Liberal. They're probably not coming to you. So every vote for an NDP, every vote for a Bloc is not a Liberal vote. So that needs to be something that's in the back of his mind. So don't waste effort attacking the NDP. Don't waste effort attacking the Bloc. It's not going to do you well. So the bottom line. So like I said, for the Liberals, victory hinges on riding that anti-Trump wave, leveraging Carney's strengths, and locking down prospective votes in key regions. For the Conservatives, it's all about reclaiming the narrative on affordability, dodging Trump's shadow, and energizing their base. So we don't have a lot of time left. We got 30 some odd days. So let's see what we can do. Wow, oh gosh, I think we may only have like about 30 days. We're running out of time fast. So yeah, that's the fun. That's the fun of it all. Holy banana bread. All right, let me get back here. We'll look at the polls here in a moment. Rory says, what is Carney going to steal next from Pierre Poilievre's platform? Yeah. Well, sometimes that's a good way to steal somebody's thunder if you adopt it as well. But Pierre probably should call him on that as well. So definitely. And let's see, Carney has a history of plagiarism. I heard something about that. Cowboy says, afternoon all. Hello, Cowboy. Let's see, a fourth mandate with the same policies. Good grief. Let's see, may God save Canada. Do you actually want the suffering to continue? The last 10 years are not proof enough that the Liberals are the enemy. All right, AA, let's see. But at the end, people get their leader that they deserve. AA says, I'm not a fan of Trump, but Trump didn't mess up our immigration or our economy. Excuse me, Liberals did. If Canadians don't get it, then no one can save them. The debate might decide who the masses may choose. Yeah, absolutely. I will be watching the debates. Rory says, let's see, Alberta will be a special case if the Liberals win again with the same old mandates. Yeah, and I've heard lots of stories of Alberta. I've heard everything from they'll cede from Canada. We'll see what happens. We're going to see what happens. Let's see. The propaganda is crazy. The polls show Liberal lead, but look at crowds. Thousands following Pierre's actor and cops at carnage events, blocking independent media, vetting attendees, free country. And let's see. King of Day says, shortest campaign period, I heard. Yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, basically, and this makes sense. I mean, you got to give Carney credit for this. Knowing the polls showing how that he's surging, He wanted the shortest possible election. So my understanding is you couldn't have an election even 1 day shorter than what we're getting. It's as short as you can get it. Um, and that's the thing. He's hoping that he can keep the honeymoon period going into that election. So we'll have to sort of see. But let's take. Wait a minute. Where is my? Here it is. I just didn't click on the show it. There we go. Let's take a quick look at the polls because oh boy. So good old poll tracker, and whether you like it or not, I like it because it isn't averaged amongst a whole bunch of polls. And we'll take a look at some of the polls in a second here. But currently, it has the Liberals at 41.2%, Conservatives at 37.8%. New Democrats 9.1, so they actually went up a tiny bit since the last one. Bloc Québécois, now Bloc is down at 5.8. They are dropping. Green 2.8, People's Party, poor People's Party 2.3, and the other 0.9. When we look at that seat-wise projections, right now they're projecting the Liberals at 194, Conservatives 125, Bloc down at 20. Oh boy. The NDP at 3, the Green at 1. But this has been the story. These seats, the Bloc and the NDP, those seats, they're basically just going into the Liberals. So that is where this is showing. So currently, chances are 73% of a Liberal majority, 15% of a Liberal minority, 10% of a Conservative. But keep in mind, these are polls. And I have always sort of mandated that you can't trust. You got to take I don't want to say you can't trust a poll. You got to take a poll with a grain of salt. What polls are good for is seeing what's happening, looking at the trends. So when I look at this, what I want to see are the changes. I want to look at the changes. And actually, let's just go right down to here. This is what I want. This just shows me a changes in momentum. And I can see here, like, look, when the Liberals started to go build up all of this new momentum, look at this. The NDP absolutely tanked. You can also see a slow tank in the Bloc, a little bit in the Green as well, going down. But you can get a general idea that, the left are consolidating. So the NDP are leaving and going to the Liberals. Some of the Bloc are doing the same thing. So it gives you a general idea. So if you're looking at this from a pollster, or not a pollster, but if you were, let's say you were a campaign manager, these are going to give you some good things. So from here, like, the Conservatives, they are on a little bit of a downward trend. So that's where you change up your messaging. You want to get yourself moving back up. And we've already seen it with, for example, all of the TFSA and the capital gain stuff that Poilievre has dropped. So when we move into this week, let's see if those actually move this in the other direction. So we'll see how it looks. Now, as I mentioned, it's a trend. Honestly, it's a trend that's most important. But these are the polls that they use, that they're using. So out of all of these polls right now, I'm just checking to see. There's a couple that have it really close. Like, for example, the Liaison Strategies poll. Nope, not that one. Sorry. The Main Street Research has 43 to 40. So it's interesting. It is interesting. Now, mind you, and this is what you can argue this. And this is, and some of you guys will, when you look at this, even though it's an average, some of these polls do have higher weighting. Like right now, the Nanos one has one of the higher weightings amongst this. But that's one of the reasons I still want to look in here. And the fact that every single poll, other than, look at this one. The Abacus has it as a dead heat, 39-39. So that could be interesting. But anyway, that's enough of the polls. Enough of the polls for now. What can I say? All right. Paul says, paying extra into your mortgage from RRSP investments once per year. I was looking at this, but the tax rates, let's see, first 17.5K, 20% and 22%, then second part, Let's see, 17.5K is 28.2. If I did this 3-year to 6-year, interesting. Interesting. But it could be, yeah, it could be very interesting. Rory says Carney should hold his next event at a cemetery. He'll have more crowds. Let me guess, people will be dying to get in. That was bad, but that's fine. Paul says 35K with 9,000 in taxes, leaving 26K. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting. I mean, if you, yeah, there's nothing wrong with paying your mortgage down that way. Let's see. I don't look at pool; it depresses me. All right, Saskatchewan blows out all carbon tax. That's going to help investments and change the affordability issues. Interesting. Prairie says it's one thing Carney stealing from Pierre Poilievre platform, him following through and keeping his promise is another. I, for one, do not believe he will. And this is the other big thing. Even though, and even though a politician makes a promise, campaign promises, they're also politicians are very good at not keeping promises too. So always keep that in mind. So, I think, I think Pierre will probably keep the TFSA one. Maybe try to get the capital gains one worked in. I think the TFSA one definitely. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And plus, keep in mind when it comes to taxes, both him and Poilievre have, both him and Carney have proposed a tax cut, although Pierre's is a little bigger. Rory says Ontario just can't continue to vote for oppression. Let's see. Cowboy Carnage did address his candidate in Markham, suggesting the PC candidate be kidnapped and collect bounty offered by China, Hong Kong. Okay, I don't know what that's about at all. But yeah. All right. Let me get back over here. Let us move on to our trade war front lines. What's going on the trade war? All right. So of course on Wednesday, Trump announced new 25% tariffs on automobiles not made in the US. And that's going to begin on April 3rd. Now, according to the documentation, a car can be partially tariffed if some of its parts are made in the US. So they'll give you some credit. And apparently, as long as more than 50% of the parts are from the US, it should be tariff-free. But nonetheless, I predict one thing, that it's going to be a mess. I predict a mess. Oh, boy. Now, Carney did come out and say that there would be retaliatory tariffs for this move. And Trump responded saying that if Canada and the if Canada and the EU were to collaborate on retaliatory tariffs, he would be hitting them back with some even more punishing tariffs. Of course, Doug Ford got his words into. He basically, and he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He says that Ontario is one of the provinces that stands to lose the most, especially from the auto tariffs. And he wants to inflict as much pain as possible to the American people in return. Fun. It's all fun. So what's going on with the tariffs? I have a tariff checklist. So already in effect. So these are the tariffs that are already happening. 25% on steel and aluminum, 25% on non-USMCA goods. So those are the ones covered by the trade, the trade deal, the free trade deal. 10% on energy and 10% on potash. Now, lumber, there's no tariffs on lumber, but lumber right now currently has a 14.5% duty on it from the U.S. And that duty is actually set to grow to 27%. And I think it's in April that it's going to move up to 27%. Now, Trump does have an investigative team right now looking into the lumber sector to see how much he should hit them with tariffs. So there could be tariffs coming on lumber in addition to that increase on the duty up to 27%. Now, what's coming ahead? On April 2nd, we got the retaliatory tariffs. So those are set to begin. We don't know yet what they're going to be, but We'll find out on the 2nd. In addition, on the 2nd, that 25% blanket tariff, so all of the exceptions, those are going to hit. So the U.S. MCA goods can potentially have those 25% tariffs back on them as well, or 10% if it's energy. On the 3rd, that's when those new auto tariffs hit. So 25%. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Yeah, the April 2nd, April 3rd. Enjoy April 1st. Have some fun on April 1st because that's probably going to be the last fun day without a lot of these tariffs. So we have to sort of see. Paul says, I would go for people 55 plus to cash in RRSP at 20% combined taxes. Okay. Now there was, I think, you know what else? I think Polyev also was looking at increasing the age when you could, when you have to convert your RRSP into an RRIF. I think he was not going to knock that up to, I believe it was 73 from 71. So, you know, or was it 75? I think it was 73, but let's see. NP did a spoof on that. Pull the plug, Doug. That's hilarious. Let's see. That tariff does not apply to cars under the USMCA. Okay. All right. Fair enough. That's a thing. I think once these all hit and we actually have all of the documentation, it'll help clear up, I think, a lot. Like right now, I think even the auto sector is a little confused on how this is all going to work. Like for one, so much happens between Detroit and Windsor when it comes to making cars. So some parts are going back and forth multiple times. So, you know, is it a US part if you know, if the part was initially casted in the US, does going over to the Canada for them to add some bolts or stuff to it, or you know, or to alter it, however, does that make it less American? Who knows? Who knows? It's going to be really, it's going to be fun. Like I said, I'm predicting a mess. I'm predicting a mess. No way about it. Sophie said, Paul, send that to Pierre. That's a really good one. There we go. Let's see. Informant says, there haven't been progressive conservatives federally since the early 1990s. Yeah, the old PC party is gone. Of course, they merged with the Reform Party and then sort of became just the Conservative Party. Now, there is still a PC party. They're in that other, but I don't think they run that many candidates anymore. But yeah, the old Progressive Conservative, which were, you know, closer to center right. Yeah, they went bye-bye. They went bye-bye. I think the last big prime minister from the PC party, well, yeah, that Mulrooney, I think, was probably the last big PC. All right. Sanja says Magna stock got hammered. Ooh, I did not notice, but let's take a gander. All right. Here we go. Magna International. Oh yeah, look at that. Down 2.7% on Friday. So interesting. That's quite a drop. That's quite a drop. So makes me think. No, it wasn't an earnings report. They have earnings coming out on May 9th. So yeah, they had a little bit of a drop for sure. But we'll go back. Let's go back here. Yeah, they've been kind of on a downward trend for a bit. Oh, at least they had that. But yeah, they did take a little bit of a drop. Cowboy says, with all the chips in cars and Taiwan being the largest producer of chips, how is that going to affect the cost of cars? Well, that's the thing. That is the thing, right? So, you know, they're talking about US, you know, as long as there's more than 50% US. Now, you know, how how do you determine the 50%? And this is something I don't know. Is it by weight? Is it by just the sheer number of parts? How do you figure this out? So that is one of those things that we need to get more information on for sure to get a general idea. Right now, like I said, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. Paul says Aaron Gunn on Vancouver Island got his campaign signs defaced and cut up. An NDP voter, Mad Jagmeet Singh, ruined the NDP. Yeah, well, the NDP, if those polls are right and they only win, like, imagine if they only won 3 seats. That's not even official party status. Yeah, it's not good for them. It's not good for them. No, I think wasn't Harper though after. I thought that they merged with the Reform Party before Harper. I could be wrong, but that's what I thought. So maybe it was Stephen Harper then, but no, I'm pretty sure they merged. I'm really every instinct is telling me that they merged before Harper. Can somebody just double check that? Just double check it for me. If 2 of you say I'm wrong on this, then I'll be wrong. But I feel like Reform merged before Harper. I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like that happened before. Yeah. A Saja saying Harper is from the Reform Party, I think. That's what I was thinking. I was really thinking that. Yeah, Kim Campbell. I forgot about Kim. So yeah, because at the end of at the end of Mulrooney, a new leader, Kim, came in for a very, very, very quick moment. But then Harper was, the modern conservatives. So the new conservatives. Okay. Yep, I like it. Let's see. Carney says Canada is the USA's biggest chip supplier. I don't think so. I've never heard of that. So interesting. Michael says, hello, Candace. If time permits, can I get your thoughts on Plaza REIT for income? Yeah, let's take a look right now. Plaza. Here we go. Plaza Retail Rent. So PLZ.UN. All right. Now this one has a pretty half decent dividend here. Let's pull it down here. So 7.446%, monthly dividend of 2.3 cents per share. I'm going to pull up the 1 year, and you can see, I mean, this one has been doing what most REITs have been doing. The initial rate cuts, they've responded well, and so did Plaza. Then, of course, we had that retraction, and now they are starting to recover a little bit. So, yeah, I don't have any real problems with this one here. You pull it down here, and you can sort of see here. Let's see here. So this one mostly has Ontario, Quebec, and Atlantic Canada, and 168 properties. So yeah, this is one I think is going to be fine. They have a bigger dividend. So obviously, obviously they're probably not going to grow as fast as some other REITs, but I think if you're looking at income and you're looking for a little bit of growth, I think this one will be fine. So this one is PLZ.UN. And if we go into the back end, let's go into the back end. We're here. Why not? All right. Let's pull it up here. So debt to equity, 122%. That's not bad. It's not bad. Keep in mind, REITs do have higher debt because, well, mortgages, they're buying properties. The return on equity, it's a little low, 4.61. But at the same time, I've got no problems with PLZ. I think they're probably going to do better than RioCan initially right now because of that whole Hudson Bay thing. Rory says, I wouldn't mind a bag of chips this afternoon, not the NVIDIA kinds. There we go. Chips. Gotta love it. Sophie says Carney did say that, but we are not. No, we're not. We're not the biggest chip producer for the United States. So I think we do 1% or less in chips. Yeah, maybe. I mean, there are. I mean, we do make chips. We just don't make a lot. Now, you could argue that, you know, now there's just no way we could. That's just a straight up misinformation. Um, you know. So yeah, that's wrong. Sorry, Carney, that is wrong. Cowboy says Paul with cheese and gravy, maybe poutine. You gotta love the poutine. You gotta love the poutine. All right. Ooh, let's head back on over to the news. We'll get another story out of the way. All right. So gold is moving on up. So gold, of course, it has risen to a record amount. Well, amid some of the concerns that we're having over the Trump and tariffs and the auto imports, you name it, We got concerns, and gold is it's soaking up the value. Now, gold bullion actually gained as much as 0.9% on Friday, so it made it up to $3,085 an ounce. That did beat the previous record, which was set on Thursday. Now it's on track. It was on track for a fourth weekly gain, with prices supported, of course. Well, it's a haven, right? It's a haven against all of the turmoil that's going on. So right now, currently, gold overall, it's up 17% this year. And yeah, it's had 15 all-time highs. So it's doing good. And I mean, this whole rally, of course, has been fueled by central bank buying. So a lot of central banks have been buying gold, preparing for what's to come. And of course, the haven demand. So haven demand, what you call it, a haven demand, you can call it hedging against everything that's everything under the sun that's bad, for sure. So several of the major banks, they've raised their price targets for gold. Goldman Sachs this week actually ramped its forecast up to 3,300 an ounce by the end of the year. So that's not too shabby. That's not too shabby. And they're basically the reason they came out with that number is they said higher than expected central bank demand and strong inflows. So that makes sense. Of course, some folks love silver, and silver has been doing pretty well as well. It has it's up around where it was in 2012, which was one of its high points. So it has also benefited for more haven demand. So some people are just like, gold's a little too expensive. It's a little too pricey for me. I'd rather just grab silver. Silver showing it some of the fears over everything in the economy. It is helping precious metals. I imagine even things like palladium is starting to do well. It's fun. It's fun stuff. Gotta love the gold. And as I mentioned the other day, I'll pull this up here. I know we were looking at a GTO, but we're also looking at GLCC. And this here is your Global X gold producer equity covered call ETF. And take a look at this. It's been doing really well. Like, look at this. This is not bad. Now, mind you, if you back out, gold struggled while things were going really well. But now gold's back on the rise. So I'm liking what I'm seeing. Let's see, jalapeno, not jalapeno. Okay. Let's see, BTO is coming into a buy range. Yeah, and I mentioned BTO a second ago. We'll pull up BTO, and this is of course B2 gold now. And you can see they are moving. I mean, they're moving. They are moving up. They are moving up. I like GLCC a little bit better, only because you're getting wider exposure to the gold market, and you're not getting hurt as bad by any little individual disputes. Because there've been, I've seen places where different gold companies, for example, had to shut down mines because of disputes with governments. So yeah, you don't get that so much with GLCC. Let's see. Do you think the TSX will fare better than NASDAQ, S&P, with Canada still have access to international markets with tariffs in place? Could it fall greater than 20%? Well, I mean, to enter a bear market, we pretty much have to fall more than 20% from the high. I think, yeah, I think the markets, I think the world is going to struggle, because kind of keep in mind that these tariffs, as you know, as Trump hits more and more places with tariffs, and more of these ones that are affecting everybody, it's going to impact everybody. But yeah, the fact that we're opening up more trade with Europe, that's certainly going to help. And even right now, when you look at the month, um, we've we've been doing a lot better than the S&P 500. We have been doing better than the Nasdaq. We're not that. You know, it's a red month, but not by much. It's probably it's more. It is definitely more red for the U.S. side. So yeah, I think the Canadian market, like once Canada opens up, the more trade we open up outside of the U.S., the better it's going to be for us. Um, the more trading capacity built. Like once we've got that, now this isn't going to happen overnight, but once we have a pipeline west to east, oh boy, that's going to open up a lot of things. And what we really need to do is we need to be fast tracking all of this stuff, fast tracking the pipeline, fast tracking a lot of our processing ability of rare elements, of critical minerals, of oil. And right now, from the rhetoric I've heard, I think the conservatives have been talking more about it. But whoever wins, they better get on board. They better get on board, because there's no reason. There's no reason why Canada can't be a superpower. There really isn't. We got the minerals. We got everything that everybody wants. We should be rolling over in the profits. We really should be. But we've had governments. Governments have let us down and this is not a liberal thing. It's not a conservative thing, because every government has let us down. So in a sense, what's happened here with Trudeau, well, with Trump, is, it's a wake-up call for Canada. And I just don't want to see a situation where, let's say Trump backs off on the tariffs after the election with whoever wins. I don't care who wins, but if he were to back off, then I don't want to see a situation where we all of a sudden say, okay, everything's okay now. We don't, there's no urgency to, to have our pipeline. There's no urgency to process our own elements, our own materials. No, that urgency needs to stay. Because, Canada, long-term Canada will be much better for it. Absolutely. All right. Sophie says, I'll be adding to my B2 gold position for sure. Let's see. Cowboy says, the next question will be, who will be first out after the Liberals return, Alberta or Quebec? It won't be Quebec. I think it would be Alberta. If anybody left, if any province were to, have their referendum and cede from Canada first, it probably will be Alberta, because, Quebec, Canada, Canada does bend over quite a bit for Quebec. We try to do everything we can to protect their distinct society. If they were to leave Canada and become part of the United States, they instantly lose. They're going from a mosaic into a melting pot. I don't think Quebec wants that. Normally in Quebec, their nationalism is pretty much towards Quebec, but there's a growing amount of Canada nationalism there. So I think Quebec is fine, but Alberta, maybe Alberta would be my choice not my choice, but they would be the one out of the two that I think would have the highest chance. Rory says Quebec is the one with the thorn in Canada's side. Let's see, Alberta and Saskatchewan both could leave. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? If you had asked me a couple of years ago, could could we have threats from the U.S. to annex us? I wouldn't have thought them to be possible. So, I think anything is absolutely possible. I would hope though. I don't want to see either of them leave. I love Canada the way it is personally. So I'm hoping not. I'm hoping nobody leaves. I'm hoping nobody leaves. So that's yeah, that's where I'm gonna have it. Gonna have it. All right. Oh my gosh. Why do I I'm even on the wrong screen here. Give me a second here. Let's fix this. Let's fix this. All right. Bang. All right. This here is the screen I'm supposed to be on because then I'm down at the bottom a little bit. Um, there we go. Here we go. All right. Up next, believe it or not, we have another nuclear story. So, the government, they are they're going to lend some money for a can-do makeover. So the government is going to provide up to $304 million loan to Atkins Realis to redesign the next generation CANDU reactor. So this move would allow that company to compete for work on a massive expansion at Ontario's largest nuclear plant. So that's the Bruce Power Plant. So the loan will go towards an updated design of the CANDU reactor, which currently it is in service at most of the power plants across Canada and around the world. So this is a world-renowned reactor. And as you guys know, we were talking about Poland not that long ago and the CANDU reactor. So yeah, this is kind of big. So currently, Atkins Realis, they've been leading a campaign called Canadians for CANDU. They've been doing this for about a year now to encourage the government to help fund a redesign called the CANDU Monarch. So the Monarch, it's going to be capable of producing 1,000 megawatts of power. So that's a significant increase in power from the original CANDU reactors that are currently in operation in Canada and around the world. So this is looking good. This is looking good. I think this is the right time for this. Like, I think the government will get their money back in spades with this because Canadian nuclear technology, it's desired. It is absolutely desired right around the world. And as we have more and more needs for green energy, nuclear is, of course, my choice. I do love the nuclear energy. King of Day said, off topic, I was summoned for jury selection again. This is the fourth time now in my life. Can they leave me alone, please? Oh my God. It's actually hilarious. I actually got summoned for jury selection last year and I appealed it and I got out of it. But yeah. Yeah. Now, King of Day, have you been selected to actually sit on a jury? Kind of curious. Kind of curious. Rory says, with Iran cutting talks with the U.S. and their nuclear program, what will oil do this week? That's interesting. I have a feeling that I think oil's going to I think oil will have a good week. I think it'll be green. I don't see anything massive, but I think it'll mostly be in yeah. Sorry, I was looking at the next comment, but yeah, I think it'll mostly be in the green. SNC Lavalin, new name is Akin Realis. So yes, they were formerly SNC Lavalin, but once again, and I know we had that whole scandal with Trudeau. This is actually completely different. One of the reasons I think I didn't mention that they used to be called SNC Lavalin, but only because I was just like, yeah, there's such negative connotation. But I think this is actually a good move when it comes to that nuclear program. Kikaday says, fortunately, I have never been selected. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Well, in my case, it just so happened that the day that I had to go into selection, I had a doctor's appointment. One of the, and these are, this is a doctor that it's like, it takes months and months and months to get an appointment. So I just had the doctor's office write them and say, nope, no go. And they were like, okay, you've been excused, but you'll be back in the pool next year. So far, I haven't been selected out of the pool again, hopefully, but we'll see. We'll see. You never know. You never know. Oh boy. All right. And we have one last story. Loblaws. So Loblaws have they have a pilot involving body cams. So Loblaw Companies has a body cam pilot. Now, currently, right now, the pilot is in Alberta and Saskatchewan, and they're expanding it into select Ontario stores. So what the pilot does is they actually will equip some employees at their retail stores with body cameras. So the whole idea of this pilot is it's aimed at reducing violent incidents at retail stores. So they have a goal to evaluate how the presence of body cameras impacts de-escalation in potentially violent situations. So not everybody's going to be wearing these cameras. Mostly, you might have some managers and people who are like what do you call it? Floor walkers. Floor walkers would have it. So people who tend to be more front line when it comes to some of these things that escalate out of control. But it could be interesting. So the cameras aren't on all the time either. They're only activated when the person who's wearing them feels like they're in a situation where there is a risk of escalation and where perhaps there's a fear for their own safety or the safety of others in the store. So far, early results from the pilot are suggesting body-worn cameras may help reduce violent incidents, but they still need a broader, longer-term evaluation across more stores. And more stores and some of their banners as well. Because keep in mind, Loblaws also owns places like Shoppers Drug Mart, for example. Now, overall, though, there is a trend of more violence in stores. According to the Retail Council of Canada, violence is on the rise. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how that all works out. All right, we're pretty much through the news. Coming up in the next week, April 4th, we have jobs data dropping in both Canada and the United States. So something to check out. Earnings-wise, on Canada, we got Dollarama and BlackBerry as well. Since I thought I'd include BlackBerry, since I'm, since we're sort of following and seeing if they're the real deal again. Down in the U.S., not a lot of earnings out there, a lot of small companies, but I think the biggest is Walgreens. So definitely interesting. All right, guys, that's the news. Now it's all you guys. It's all you guys now. ACJ says, do they get you off jury duty if you are a conspiracy theorist, fascist, or have anti-democratic views? It probably depends. Like, they'll ask you questions, my understanding. Now, I mean, let's say, for example, if somebody was, if they asked you a question like, hey, do you have anything against a plumber? Like maybe a plumber's up for a trial or something, and you can say, oh my God, yeah, my mom left my dad for a plumber and it sucked and we've never escaped, then you probably would get off on that. So yeah, I mean, I imagine that if you really want to spin, if you really you could make yourself sound like an undesirable probably pretty easily, I would think. But you'd want to make it sound natural. Like, you don't want to make it sound like you're basically making stuff up to get off of jury duty, but make it sound plausible, I guess. Oh my, cancer by another name. Cancer. Yeek. Nobody loves cancer. Rory, huge stores, employees use roller skates to get around quicker. Cams might be useful when they run into people shopping. I know in the Maritimes. Now, I only seen this in the Maritimes. The Atlantic, the Real Canadian Atlantic Superstore, when they first came out back in, oh my God, this was like the late 80s, early 90s type thing. They half of their price checkers all had roller skates. I remember that. Never heard of any accidents, but that's kind of cool. Jonathan says, aren't grocery stores already full of security cameras? I think there's a fair amount of them for sure. But I think this, maybe those cameras wouldn't record the sound. So maybe that's part of it too. Like, if the person is yelling some derogatory things at the staff before they hit them or something. I don't know. But that's cool. Cowboy says Loblaws is not a place I go. Too expensive, in my opinion. Yeah, Loblaws tends to be a little more expensive. Walmart tends to be a little bit better, and you can actually get if you got a TNT, you can usually get some pretty good deals at TNT, and yeah, a few things like that. MC says Quebecers have never felt more Canadian than now. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Exactly, I've been hearing that. There's nationalism in Quebec. I'm like, oh boy, and I think that also is why the polls are showing that there is a big movement towards the Liberal Party again in Quebec, and that's anytime the Liberals have won a majority in Canada, usually it's not a good thing for the Bloc because they're taking more seats from the Bloc in Quebec, but we'll have to see. Sorry, I just realized you're 10 minutes. How really? I know that YouTube has a delay. Like I think it's about I thought it was about 15 seconds or so. Um yeah, something like that. 15, 20 seconds. But oh yeah, that's 10 minutes. Yikes. I don't know how that I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Oh, weird. But what can you say? What can you say? All right. I'm gonna have a coffee after that. Oh boy. Oh, we do have a current vote going on. As I mentioned, I'm doing the Air Canada swing trade again. So you'll see a little bit of that on the 0 to 100K challenge. But I thought that I might do a deep dive with a breakdown of the strategy on Air Canada on Friday. And I gave you guys the opportunity to say yes or no, do it. And I obviously, if you guys say no, I won't do it because the reason I give you guys that option is that anytime I've dealt with Air Canada on the channel, it has dismal views. Dismal. It's like Air Canada doesn't have wings. So, but the fact that I'm going to focus more on the swing trade. I'll throw the deep dive in as a bonus, but yeah, we're going to look at that, and I think there's going to be some valuable information because you could pretty much take any company and sort of replace Air Canada with another company name, and it would all work out, of course. Let's see, what kind of coffee, Candace? Nabob, Folgers, MacD's, Timmy's? Nope, none of those. It's Maxwell House Instant, and I'll tell you guys again. I've mentioned this before, but I'm not a fan of brewed coffee. I don't know why. Well, it's probably because. Well, here's the funny thing. I didn't drink coffee at all until university. And it just happened that I started with like Maxwell House, just the instant, and I liked it. I got it, I don't want to say addicted, but sure. Yeah, we're addicted to it. Yeah, so I started with that. And then anytime I've had other coffee, like, even Tim Hortons, like it's okay. It's okay. I can drink it, but I like my Maxwell House better. And anytime I go to somebody's house and they have brewed coffee and they're like, what do you normally drink? I'll say, well, I normally drink Maxwell House Instant. They're like, oh my God, you're in for a treat. And I have to just smile and pretend I'm liking it as I'm absolutely hating every single sip because it's just, I don't know what it is. I just not a fan of brewed coffee. I like my Maxwell House Instant. It's sure it's freeze dried. It does me well. So I'm okay with that. All right. Luke says hello everyone from Terrebonne. Yeah, ice and rain here. Yeah. Right now it's just raining. There's still ice. Like the tree is still coated in ice. I tried to show you guys, but I don't know if you were able to even to see it, but yeah. Tom says I'll be looking forward to Friday. Yes. Tom made well out. He did well on the last swing that we did on the channel with Air Canada, with definitely. Rory says I use Instant. All right, Rory. Team Instant. Me and Rory, we're running the team. All right. Luke says, let's see, brought some Santo Domingo from Dominican Republic. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. And Prairie says I'm nursing my Timmies. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And out of all of the brewed coffees, I mean, Timmy's is not that bad. Black though, I wouldn't drink it black. But well, I don't drink. I normally don't drink coffee black. Like I just have I have a little bit of cream. That's it. I don't like sugar in it. That just ruins it. But just a little bit of cream, and I'm good. Let's see. Santo Dominico is local coffee. Okay, fair enough. And King of Day does not. I don't drink coffee, but I do take caffeinated pre-workout. Same thing, I guess. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Like I said, I will drink tea as well. I mean, I like Earl. I have this. There's this Earl Grey vanilla tea that I actually like pretty every so often. All right. Cowboy says, "Are you a fan of Torlamine?" Yes, I am. Guys, let's pull up. We haven't looked at Torlamine in a while. Let's head over. Now, one of the things I like about Torlamine is they have this. They love giving you special dividends, and they have been doing it for a while now. I'm just going to pull up the 5-year on them. And you can see, like, heck, I can't even see. Like, I cannot see here. Actually, I have to go to the 10-year. Then I can see it. Yeah, here it is. Here's their itty-bitty little pandemic drop. Not a big one. But yeah, they came out of the pandemic. This was the bull market out of the pandemic. And look at this. They went absolutely crazy. Then they had a little bit, this is the bear market down in here. But they've been sort of oscillating a little bit sideways since then. But they made a lot of money here. And they gave a lot of that money back. So what they were doing is they were doing a special dividend. And they were doing it like quarterly. So you were getting your regular quarterly dividend and you were getting a special dividend. And let me show you, these were not insignificant. They were not insignificant at all. All right, go into our key data and we'll come down here and let me take a look here. All right, if you see these ones back here, $2.25 dividend. That was a special dividend. The $2, $1.50. They're still doing it. They're down. I think right now it's at 50 cents. But yeah, you can sort of see that you were getting these special dividends. So you were ending up getting, like 8 dividends a year instead of the normal 4. So yeah, they've absolutely did well. And look at this. I mean, look at this company here. They've got almost no debt. They've got an 8% debt to equity ratio. I'm actually surprised that their return on equity isn't a little higher, but 8.55. But they have a good amount. They have been a steady company and they reward their shareholders. So that's the type of company that you want to be very loyal with. But I do like Torlamine a lot. So yes. Am I a fan? Yes, I am a fan. That was a long-winded answer of yes, but I am. Rory, missed out on that. Stuck to Enbridge CNQ the whole time. Yeah, and I mean, I do like CNQ. I have CNQ in the challenge. So CNQ, Enbridge. I mean, I really like the sector as a whole. All right. Luke says, just love Torlamine, and with the Ing project ongoing, natural gas will become a must-own for years to come. Let's see, I own Torlamine and ARC, etc. Yeah, these are good companies. These are, to me, Torlamine is fantastic. I really feel like I should be getting back. There's so many. This is one of the funny things. There's so many great companies that I don't have in the 0 to 100K challenge. But I'll tell you, Torlamine is one that would fit in there really nicely. Fit in there absolutely nicely. So, maybe they'll get back in. Maybe they'll get back in. I do love them. All right, guys, we're almost there. We're not there yet, but if you got your last minute questions, throw them all in your last minute 15 questions. I don't care. Bring them, bring them. We'll, we can look at stocks. We can look at. No, nobody messaged me on Blossom. Oh, actually, let's head over to Blossom again, guys. Here we go. So here is a Blossom. Now, oh, this is cool. This is the 0 to 100K challenge. And you remember how when I mentioned when you hook up your portfolio to Blossom that you don't see dollar amounts. Like if you share your portfolio. So if you shared your portfolio with me, you would not see dollar amounts, but you get to see your own dollar amounts. And this is the 0 to 100K challenge. So heck, you guys now know it's at 12,854, something like that. So you do get to see those when you're looking at your own. So there we go. But what I was going to say is, and I'm just gonna head back to home. So they were supposed to have everything working by the end of this month on the Blossom desktop. So this is the beta. So they haven't officially released the desktop app yet. But if you're, I think if you're an ambassador like myself, or if you are on the pro plan, you have access to it. It's just simply beta.blossomsocial.com. But it is all supposed to, by the end of this month, everything is supposed to be working. I have noticed a whole bunch of new stuff working, which is great. So one of the things, this is something that's fantastic. If you have an ETF, so here's one, VFV. All right. If you click on it and go into it, they have a really good thing where you can see all of the stuff without even going to the page. Like here's the sector weightings of VFV. So you can see technology, 32.05%, financials, healthcare, consumer discretionary, industrials, all of this down here. And you can also see their top holdings. So in this case here, their top holdings is VOO. So VFV holds VOO. So if you want to actually know what the companies are, well, guess what? You're going to have to go to VOO. No, are you serious? It won't let me go to VOO. Like I said, there's still stuff that is being worked on, but give me a second. Let's just search on VOO. Come on, give me VOO. Here we go. VOO. Now we can go to VOO and we can see. So in the case where it's holding another ETF, sometimes you have to go to that ETF. So in this case here, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Google, Berkshire Hathaway in there. There you go, Vic. It's got it there for you. But yeah, you're starting to, and this is going to be, to me, this is very, very useful. So that's one of the things I do like about Blossom. But what I was mentioning is I am going to, on these shows, if somebody joins up with Blossom, or if you're already on Blossom and you direct message me and say, hey, can you show my portfolio on the show? I'll do it. I like you to do it though ahead of the show for the simple reason that I can actually go and look at your portfolio. And sometimes there's stocks in there I may never have seen before. That way there I can at least see what they are, know what they are. Makes it more quality for you. So if you want me to review your portfolio, this is free. You guys aren't being charged for this or anything. Head on over to Blossom. There's a link down below. In fact, just give me a second. Let me grab the link. I'll put the link in here for you. I just got to find it. All right. Let's see here. There we go. All right. I'll drop the link in the chat. So yeah. Now with this link, I'm just going to point out, you have to currently, it won't work on a desktop. So it'll want you use your phone or your tablet. Now I'm hoping they get it set up so that you can sign up on a desktop, because I think it should. All right. And Funny Books is in the house, and guess what? They are now the GOAT. They are the GOAT. Thank you. Funny Books. And oops, I guess that means I have to knock us up to 22. There we go. We're now at 22 out of 25 on the swag meter. So there we go. That was with and Funny Books is back. Holy banana bread. That takes us up to 23. on the meter, and it means that you guys get to see another goat because Funny Books is once again the goat again. There we go. I've got more goats. I got more goats, and I'm not afraid to use them. I got more goats. So fantastic. Thank you very much, Funny Books, for your double whammy. Bang, bang. Awesomeness. All right. Yeah, so back to the wealth simple. Back to the blossom. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely be doing that. So yeah, if you want me to do it, just sign up. Follow me and direct message me. So direct message me over on Blossom. And I'll get back to you and just, let me know that you want me to do it. And I'll be like, okay, sure. I'll even let you know, which show. Like, obviously, it'll be the next following Sunday. So what can I say? Oh, we got more from Funny Books. Funny Books is in one more time. And pushing that meter up to 24. Pushing the meter up to 24. And proving once again that they are the GOAT. Oh boy. Gotta love it. All right. Well, thank you. There's the trifecta. The trifecta. There we go. Awesome sauce. All right. So yeah, anyway, that is Blossom, and hopefully I was trying to think here. Yeah, one of the things that they don't have set up yet is I was in here earlier. I was hoping to pull up the my actual individual sector weightings. That's not working yet. And oh boy, guys. Oh, Bismarcky in with a 199 super sticker. That means Bismarcky's our GOAT. We have our GOAT. And oh boy. Swag meter at full power. So next Sunday, you want to be here because we're gonna do a draw. You know what? Here's what we'll do, because we'll do it at exactly the 1 hour mark of the show. That way there, everybody knows. So at the 1 hour mark of this week, we'll do the draw. And I will basically, once we get a winner, let me know what you want, whether it be a t-shirt, a mug, and I'll get the link for you, because I'll pay for it, and then it'll generate a link. I just give you the link. You use the link, you go in, you pick it, you pick your size or whatever, and they ship it to you. Simple as that. Fantastic. I love it. All right. Now I got to think of something for April. What are we gonna count down on April? I don't know. It'll be fun. Jonathan is in with swag. Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. I mean, if you guys want, we can do swag again. It really doesn't matter to me. I know so far the first one we did was Da Bomb. So I took a whole teaspoon of Da Bomb because you guys were very quick to get me there. And then of course we did swag. So yeah, well, I'll figure something out. And Mary is saying, yeah, hit the like button. Absolutely. I'm gonna have a sip here. I'm ecstatic. You guys are gonna. I can't wait. Oh, so good. And what I will do as well before next week, this week, I'll see if I'll come up with a couple more designs, put them into the swag, so give you more choice, just to make it more difficult for whoever wins. It's going to be fantastic. I am loving it. I am absolutely loving it. Yeah. Well, guys, holy banana bread! It looks like we're coming up towards the end. I don't have anything else for you. I'll give you guys a couple of moments, though. If you do have an actual legitimate last minute question, get it in right now. I'll if you want me to look at something, a stock, an ETF, I don't know, look at the pools again, refresh it, make it different. I probably can't do that, but yeah, why not? I'll I'm going to have some coffee while you guys are, doing your thing. So good. I am very happy with these scenes. And that's kind of a behind the scenes thing. They have, I think I can show you on the screen. Let me see here. All right. Oh, there you go. So you can see over here, these are all the different scenes. Like, take a look. This here is the beaver, the regular. Here's the share, if I want to share what's on the stage. This one here is just for filming. And this speaker view, I just use this one if I'm going to do a short. All right, let's get back here. Okay. We've moved things around a little bit too much today. What can I say? Sophie says maybe inverse ETFs for the upcoming bear market. Yes, I actually do want to do a new video on inverse ETFs. I did one before, probably. Oh gosh, I think it's almost 3 years ago. Probably almost 3 years ago. So yeah, we're going to definitely do another video on inverse ETFs sooner than later. Actually, I think it's a higher priority. HMAX is down 13.7x, likely to go down further next week. Yeah, once we get to Wednesday, I think everything. The end of this week is not going to be of this coming week is probably not going to be great. We're going to get off to a pretty red start to April. Yeah. So, but one bright side is Trump did indicate that some of these retaliatory tariffs that he's releasing on Tuesday are probably not as harsh as people are expecting. So maybe there's a little bit of positivity in there, but I still think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be bad. Rory says, watching the oil inverse, HOD. Yes, HOD. And of course, the inverse to the inverse is HOU. So I know that some people will play them both. It's like, okay, I'll play HOD. Oh, oil's turned around. Let's sell the HOD, buy the HOU, because the HOU is a bull. So you got a bull versus a bear. And both of them have, I believe it's 2x leverage. So something to keep in mind, something to keep your eyes on. Sophie says, I'll keep my eyes on HOD as well. Yeah, absolutely. And there is, quite literally, there are bull and bear. Let me show you something here. Give me a second here. So if you're sitting here and say, okay, Candace mentioned something about inverse and bull and bear. I mean, if you don't know, if you don't remember, like, you can easily come in here, something like TMX money, and just type in, if you type in bull, you'll see here's a silver bull. Let's see, Beta Pro. Here's one, natural gas leverage daily bull. So if you're bullish on natural gas, this is going to HNU. Now here's the HOU. So that's the oil bull. This one here is a capped financials bull. Here is what is this? S&P 500, not this, sorry, the TSX 60 2X bull. And here's a gold bull. You can do the same thing. You type in bear and you'll see some normal things. But when you come down here and you see things like this, here's the natural gas inverse. So if natural gas is doing bad, this is going to go up while natural gas falls. So you can take a look over here. It's down 8.72%, meaning natural gas had a really good day on Friday because it's doing the opposite. And here's the HOD. So oil went down on Friday because HOD was up 1.82%. And there's Bear Creek Mining. That's something completely different. But I will do another video on these. I'll see if I can find some new ones too, because there's probably a whole bunch of new ones out there since the last time I did it. CJ, monthly stock, your opinion. Yes. Here we go. Cardinal Energy. All right. So first of all, let's pull up the dividend. 11.094%. That's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. It's a 6-cent dividend. Now, here's something I do like. They're in the positive, so they are making money. So let's just pull up. Now, here's the thing. They may be making money, but they're not. You're not making your money with this stock by going up. It does have these moments, but it's pretty much volatile this way. Now, I'm going to pull this up here, and you'll see here they don't have a lot of debt, so 10% debt to equity. That's nice. I like that. They do have a half decent return on equity, 11.78%. Now, as you can sort of see down here, they've been paying the 6-cent dividend for a long time. And well, okay, it used to be 5. Now here's one that they missed. That was right at the pandemic. So yeah, it takes basically a pandemic level event for them to miss it. But look at this. Since the pandemic, they've been fine with their dividends. So I do like them. If you're looking at that income, yeah, don't expect a lot of growth because they are paying out. If they wanted growth, they would need to pull back a little bit on that dividend. But I do like it. All right. Harvesting income. I'd like to know your analysis on Timber Creek Financial, Mortgage Investment Company, so an MIC. Can this be a good opportunity to buy or add at lower levels for future appreciation and good yields? I love Timber Creek Financial. I have them in the 0 to 100K challenge, and yeah, they have. Let's if we take the last, initially they did exactly what REITs did, and they responded well to the initial rate cuts. But since then, it has been a dumpster fire heading down. Not in a bad way. They're not like I shouldn't have used the word dumpster fire, but they have had a little bit of a struggle. I still have faith in them. I'm going to pull out their 10-year, and you can sort of see, like, here's the pandemic here, but typically they tend to float up around 8. I'm going to discount this little part in here, and I'm going to discount this because there was a lot of extra money in the market, but $9 is kind of a high for them, but usually between 8 and 9 is where they typically reside. Will they get back there again? Yeah, I think they will. Will it happen fast? That's a good question. Luckily, tariffs are not going to directly impact them. They'll be indirectly impacted, as everybody will. But how long will it take? I think we will see some movement up to the upside. Like, I'm still bullish overall on REITs. I've tempered it a bit, but I'm still bullish on them. And I'm still, this to me, they behave very much like a REIT. So, I'm expecting this stock to rebound. So yeah, is this a good buy-in position? Perhaps it is. I like them. I'm not selling them. So I did a big rebalance and to get more defensive because of what's coming. And this is one that survived it. This one survived it. There's a couple of favorites that didn't survive it, and you'll have to see Tuesday's video to find out. A dumpster fire like AQN. Oh boy. Now AQN, they've slowly been doing a little better. Let's pull up AQN here. And let's just pull the last year. So yeah, they've actually, now here's their the continued dumpster fire, but they have finally, it seems like they finally started putting out a little bit of momentum. Now, they have been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. They've been selling some of their units to pay off debt. They're not there yet. Like, let's take a look at their no, it's actually better than it was. Right now, it's 148%, but they are not yet profitable. And you can see they've got a negative return on equity, a negative 29.44. Can AQN make me, can my next deep dive of AQN not have a picture of a burning dumpster on it? I don't know. I don't know yet, but I really wish that they would recover. And there's no reason why they shouldn't. I mean, they a lot of their business is highly regulated, so there is consistent cash flow coming in. It's just, they just can't seem to get things in gear. They can't seem to get it right. So I am hoping. All right. What do you think about TELUS? They are thinking of selling network infrastructure. Yes, they are. They are looking to get rid of a little bit of their debt. I mean, TELUS. Here's the thing. I don't think I can just type in. Oh, I can. All right, good. Let's pull up. Now they did have. So obviously, they have been on a downward trek for a while. They had a lot of. They had a lot of interesting stuff. The problem with TELUS, and this goes with Rogers and Bell, they've got a lot of cash flow that's being utilized by the whole 5G conversion. So they have finished the cities. Right now, they're working on rural areas, getting those all geared up for 5G. That's an expense. So they're doing worse than they actually are. That's kind of the key point with TELUS, Bell, and Rogers has, of course, the added the purchasing of Shaw, that all that debt they added just before just before aggressive rate hikes. Now, rate cuts are good for this company, for all of them, especially Rogers more than the other two. But and they are looking at other options and other ways to expand. So things like TELUS has got TELUS Health and TELUS. Well, there's a whole AI center that they're looking at setting up in Quebec. There's that as well, and that's going to be fast tracked. Look, they actually want that thing operational by the summer. So I think things are going to look better for TELUS long term. So I do like TELUS. I do like TELUS. I do have Bell in the 0 to 100K, and I've been I've been averaging down on Bell for a while. I haven't gotten rid of them. I'm going to continue doing that because I think they will be fine on the longer term. But right now we are in the environment that should be good for them. So once we get a little further into the year, I think we'll see a little bit of recovery. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them. I still think they're going to be fine. Like I know there's a lot of people that probably think that yeah, it's game over for Bell. It's game over for TELUS. Nobody's saying that about Rogers, interestingly enough, but I think they'll be fine. I think they will be fine. Cowboy says all the telecoms is the CRTC. Governments need to stay out of private sectors. Yeah, the CRTC. You either love them or hate them. Mostly hate them. But what can I say? King of Day sold TELUS and Bell on Friday and put it in VFV. I believe XIC will suffice. No need for individual TELUS and Bell. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, because you can get your telecommunication sector through an ETF easily, and then at least you're getting, it's buffering out all of the turmoil that they currently have been going through. So for sure, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, guys. I think we're at the end. This has been another great stream. You guys rock as always. Make sure you're here next week so that you can be in the draw for the swag. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. And like I said, I will get a couple more designs put together before the end of the week. So guys, I cannot do this unless I'm big screen. All right. Until next time, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will be back here on Wednesday for a live show. Can't wait. Until then, guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.